Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Training Talk here on Personal Defense Network. I'm Grant Cunningham, and this is the show where we talk about you, actually. In the next hour, we're going to explore how you can train and equip yourself to face the worst case scenario and keep you and your family safe from harm. Now, on this show, we don't do religion or politics, and you're not going to hear conspiracy theories or crazy fringe commentary, just reliable information that you can put to use right away to help bolster your personal safety preparedness. How about that? Isn't that a great deal? Hey, if you like what we're doing here, do me a favor. Share it with your friends and your family and your coworkers and everybody else on the social media. Get on Twitter, get on Facebook. Tell everybody that you're watching Training Talk and that it's a great source of personal safety, personal security, personal defense, family defense information. We'd sure appreciate it. And you know something? I'll bet you they will too. So, welcome. If you're tuning into the show if you're new to the show, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for stopping by. And if you're returning, thank you for, again, taking your time, spending your time, your valuable time with us tonight to learn all about the things you need to do to keep yourself safe. Now, if you are a returning viewer, you probably know that Google, which of course does the hangout on which this is broadcast, decided to get rid of some of their really cool features. We used to have this feature where my name and picture were underneath me here, and so they don't have that anymore. So we have to resort to doing things the way that we did it back in the 1990s. So I'm going to put my email up here, grant@grantcunningham.com. Please do send me your emails. I love to get them. In fact, tonight's topic was actually inspired by a viewer by the name of Alan, who sent me an email at grant@grantcunningham.com. And so I do enjoy getting those, and I do put those to use, and we do use it to decide what we're going to do on the show. So welcome. And tonight, before we're going to have several guests hopefully on tonight, if everything goes well. If I just sort of disappear suddenly, it's probably because we got hit by lightning. We are having a very rare for Oregon lightning storm here in the western part of the state, and we don't get these very often. The last time we did, a lightning bolt hit a power pole about a quarter mile away from us, and the surge took out my DSL modem and my internet, or my Ethernet switch, and a bunch of other stuff. And despite these things being on a very large uninterruptible power supply, and into which was plugged a good quality surge protector, so sometimes electricity is a funny thing. So if we disappear tonight, if just goes blank, that's why. So tonight, before we get started with the show tonight, of course, this is Grant's Rant. This is where I talk about things that maybe you should think about, or things that bother me a little bit. And this week, I want to talk to you about the change of the seasons. Oh, doesn't that sound wonderful? Well, the change of the seasons are really great. Flowers come up, all that kind of thing. I get my summer haircut. You like that? And this year here in Oregon, our weather's been kind of strange. It's been very cold, very wet, right up until a couple of days ago. And we were in 50-degree temperatures. Our high here just a few days ago was 51 degrees. And then quite literally overnight, the temperature went from a high of being in the low 50s to a high in the low 80s. Quite literally, one day it was 51 and the next day it was 80. And so we've had these 80-degree temperatures with 65-degree humidity for the last couple of days. And all of a sudden, I'm sort of forced to switch seasons. And when I do that, I usually switch the gun that I'm carrying, the defensive firearm that I'm carrying. During the winter and fall months, I carry a gun on my belt. And when the weather gets very warm, like it is now, I switch to a smaller gun, a lighter gun, carried in a pocket holster. And in fact, usually when the temperature gets up into the mid 80s, I switch into shorts, and the gun goes into the front pocket of the shorts again in the pocket holster. So what this means is that overnight I've changed my carry gun. I've changed the position in which I carry it. And this is sort of a cautionary tale for everybody because we are coming up on the change of seasons. Some of you luckily have already had that. Some of us haven't. But we're all coming up on the change of seasons. And if you do change your defensive firearm for the warmer weather, it's time to get out and actually practice with that gun. Now, in my particular case, again, I've gone from a large gun to a small gun and from a relatively heavy gun to a very lightweight gun. And when I do that, a whole bunch of things change. My balance of speed and precision changes. The amount of achievable precision that I can reach changes. And this is the time when I need to go out and practice with that summer carry gun. Because the things that I've been doing, say, over the winter with the bigger gun, with the gun that's easier to shoot, with the gun that recoils less, aren't going to be applicable now when I start shooting this smaller gun. So I really do need to get out and practice that and relearn what my balance of speed and precision is, relearn what I can do in terms of achievable precision. And because I've also changed the carry method from, again, the belt holster to the pocket holster, I also need to practice that. Now, luckily, I can practice that in dry practice, or dry fire, as some people call it. Making sure there's no ammunition in the gun, making sure there's no ammunition in the room in which I'm practicing, and double checking all of that. And simply practicing my draw, getting the gun out of the pocket holster, and into a position where I can shoot it. I can do that without ever going to range. And in fact, it's probably advisable to do that before you go to the range so that you get the gross mistakes out of the way right away. Learn how to get to that gun, how to get into that pocket, get your hand around the grip, and get the gun out efficiently and into a shooting position. So these are the things that we really need to do as the seasons change and as our carry method changes, and maybe even as our gun changes. So make some time at the change of the seasons to go out to the range and get some practice time in. Practice those defensive shooting drills that you do the rest of the year, perhaps with a larger, easier to shoot gun. Make sure you do the same drills, the same exercises with your summer carry gun as well. Now, I'm going to advise that you don't take your winter carry gun with you to the range at all. And the reason for this is that I've seen this in myself, I've seen it in some students. Typically the gun we carry during the winter is a larger gun, it's easier to shoot, and the tendency is to look at the results you're getting with your summer carry gun, and they're not as good, you're not as proficient with it, and well, I'll use this gun for a few exercises. I need to practice with my bigger gun, my winter carry gun anyway. And the result is we tend to want to do things that are easy. We want to tend to do things that we know that we're already good at. And if we do that, what that means is we never get that practice in that we need with that smaller, harder to access, harder to shoot gun. So if like me, you're changing carry guns, and for the summer or for the spring, if it ever gets here, be sure and go out and practice with that gun. Get in some good practice time, dust off those cobwebs, do some dry practice at home so that you know you can operate that gun efficiently. So that's my recommendation, my rant for this week. Practice with your carry gun. I want to talk to you for just a moment about the free Personal Defense Network newsletter. Now, this is the newsletter that comes out every week from Personal Defense Network and gives you all the information about the stuff that's coming up. the stuff that's new, what's changed at Personal Defense Network. If you've been here any length of time at all, you know that new stuff is going up all the time, changes are happening all the time, and the newsletter is how you keep track of those things. In fact, the newsletter is how you keep track of when the show's on. I use the newsletter to find out what's new. Frankly, I can't keep up on all the stuff that's happening at Personal Defense Network, and I rely on that newsletter to help me. So, how do you sign up? Well, if you're watching this show on the Personal Defense Network Training Talk page, there's a link down below. Don't click it now, but there's a link down below where you can sign up for the free newsletter and join the hundreds of thousands of other people, and I mean that quite literally, who get the Personal Defense Network newsletter every week and stay up on what's going on. Like I said, that's one of the things that I do to stay up on things, and it's a wonderful thing. So we're supposed to have a couple of guests on tonight, and my first guest was to be Rob Pincus. Yeah, I don't see him yet. So let's talk a little bit about the training tour, the Personal Defense Network training tour that's happening right now. As you know, every spring, Personal Defense Network puts on a training tour, and what we do is we gather all the contributors to Personal Defense Network. Now, in case you didn't know, in order to be a contributor here at Personal Defense Network, you do need to be a regular instructor. You need to be out there teaching people how to defend themselves and how to keep themselves safe. And that's one of the criteria for everybody. So when you read an article here or you see a video here, all the people who are contributing that information are regular instructors who are out there teaching this stuff and studying and helping their students. And so every spring we get a bunch of these people together, and we have them put on courses around the United States, and literally from coast to coast. And so this year we've got over 100 classes being put on by a whole pile of different instructors, all contributors to Personal Defense Network. And we've got some really cool stuff coming up. And I'm going to see if I can screen share this with you here. And let's see here. Go to screen share, bingo, and we want that one right there. I'm going to start the screen share. And you should click present to everyone. And you should be able to see this now. Now, what's interesting about this is that the training tour this year goes until, again, the end of July, which is when we usually end it. And as you can see, there's a whole bunch of courses here, and I just want to talk about some of the ones that are coming up in the next couple of weeks, because there's some neat stuff coming up. Let's see here. Let's start with Walbridge, Ohio. Rob Pincus is going to be there teaching combat focused shooting and combat focused carbine for a couple of days. Craig Douglas is going to be in Council Bluffs, Iowa, teaching his extreme close quarters concepts. Now, this is a law enforcement only version of his class. He does this class for private citizens as well. This particular one is law enforcement only. You'll need to check with Craig to see if security guard credentials allow you into that class. I don't know if it does or not, but this is a great class if you are in law enforcement to learn how to deal with that extreme close quarters situation, that situation when you are in contact with another person. Rob Pincus is going to be doing, again, and he's still in Walbridge, Ohio, on the 17th of this month, teaching two-person armed defense. That's a one-day course. And then he goes to Michigan to teach fundamentals of combat focused shooting. Now, I mentioned that Craig Douglas does his extreme close quarters concepts for both law enforcement and private citizens. And the 19th and through the 21st in Council Bluffs, Iowa, he's going to be doing his open enrollment extreme close quarter concept. And that's the class that everybody can take. And I highly recommend that you sign up for that class, because the job of defending when you're actually in contact, when you're actually entangled with another person, is very specialized. I'm not qualified to teach it, but Craig Douglas is kind of the guy when it comes to it. Again, Rob Pincus is going to be teaching a combat-focused carbine class in Saline, Michigan on the 20th. Also on the 20th, but in Lakewood, Colorado. Andrew Branca, the attorney who wrote the book, The Law of Self-Defense, is going to be doing his Law of Self-Defense Level 1 class. One of the things that I truly believe is important is for everyone who has a gun for personal defense, whether they carry it outside the home or whether they have it for use inside the home to protect their family, needs to understand the legalities of using lethal force. And this course gives you the legal information, the legal background that you need to know what to do. Oh, excuse me here. There we go. To know what to do and when you can do it. Again, he wrote the book, The Law of Self-Defense. There it is, and it's a book I recommend that everyone have on their shelves. Now, the cool thing about Andrew is that his classes are localized. And what I mean by that is he travels all over the country teaching this course, but the course is always specifically localized for where he's teaching. So he'll teach a different course in, say, Ohio than he would in, say, Nevada, because the laws and how the courts interpret them are different in those two areas. And that's one of the cool things about his class, that it is localized, that it is specialized for wherever he's teaching it. So if you don't have that legal knowledge piece, get out and get to one of Andrew Branca's courses. And then, of course, Rob Pincus is going to be going to Michigan, teaching his combat focus, both for handgun and carbine, in several places in Michigan this month. And in Reno, Nevada, my buddy Barrett Kendrick, and he's been on the show several times, he was on the show just recently, is going to be teaching defensive focus carbine and vehicle-based arm response for both handgun and carbine. And that's going to be no doubt a great class. Barrett is a superb instructor. And I think that if you're anywhere around Reno, and if you're not, you can always fly into Reno to take that course, defensive focus carbine, or the vehicle-based arm response course. And that's going to be in Reno, Nevada. So that's what's coming up in the next couple of weeks on the training tour. Now, let me see if I can get back here. I need to stop this. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Okay, wonderful. Anyhow, so that's what's coming up for the next couple of weeks on the training tour. And again, we have a lot more courses coming up. We've got stuff all over. I'm just going to tell you Nevada, Michigan, Illinois, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Oklahoma, Massachusetts, Texas, Illinois, Oklahoma again, Minnesota, Wisconsin, a bunch of classes in Wisconsin, California, Texas, another one in Oklahoma, Iowa, and hey, Alaska. That's right. We've got courses in Valdez, Alaska this year, and again, lots of places in California, several courses in Nevada, and Idaho, and Arabia, Louisiana. Arabia. I'm sorry, I thought I said Arabia. Arabia, Louisiana, and finally ending up with the last class on the tour in Washington State. So great courses coming up. Be sure to take advantage of some of those. So let's see here. I want to talk for just a minute, and while we wait for our guests to show up, about the premium membership here at Personal Defense Network. And if you're familiar with with the free side, the public side of Personal Defense Network, you know all the great videos and all the great articles that we put out. Well, the membership side of Personal Defense Network has even more videos and online classes, distance education that you don't see on the public side of Personal Defense Network. And we have full-length videos. I mean, DVD-length videos. We have video collections that put things that are all related to one topic together, so you can watch them all at once or spread them out however you want. But we have the video collections, whole bunch of other stuff too. And I've been a premium member since it started, and I haven't seen everything that's there. It's actually kind of astonishing to me. And premium membership usually costs $39.95 a year, but we've got a deal for you. Since you're listening to the show, if you sign up for premium membership at Personal Defense Network, I can get you your first year for only $10. Now, how do you do that? Well, you sign up for premium membership. And again, there's a link on the show page if you're watching this on the Personal Defense Network site. And sign up. And when you get to checkout, there will be a little box for a coupon code, and simply put in welcome to 1995 again, put in this code, Grant10, Grant, the number 1, the number 0, all one word, Grant10, and you'll get that first year for only $10. So great deal, tremendous discount on premium membership here at Personal Defense Network for only $10. So take advantage of that, and see what we have to offer in premium membership and the things that we do on the premium membership side. And I've just gotten a message from one of my guests tonight. I was going to have Alessandro Padovani on, and he just sent me a note that he's stuck in traffic in San Francisco, and he's not going to make it tonight. So unfortunately, sorry, Ollie. Would have been nice to have a chat with you, but that's okay. I understand how that can happen. Anyway, in the meantime, we have one of our guests tonight is Caleb Causey from Lone Star Medics. And I see that he's just now checking in, and hopefully he'll come up soon and we can have a chat with Caleb. And I'm hoping to have this chat because if you've followed me at all, you know that I place a big value on learning how to deal with medical emergencies and dealing with life-threatening trauma, because that happens to us far more frequently than it happens to, and I can hear Caleb. Caleb, can you hear me?
Okay. Sorry about that, guys.
That's okay. Hey, let me turn you on here. I mean, let me turn on your camera.
We know what you mean. We know what you meant.
Yeah,
sorry.
that did not come out right. Yeah, that didn't work right. So, hey, glad to see you. How are you?
I'm doing well. Sorry, I'm late. Slight little family emergency, but it's all taken care of, and due to a little golden retriever. So,
oh, really? Okay.
What can I say?
Well, that's okay. Apparently, excuse me. Apparently, everybody else is having trouble tonight. I'm gonna have Alessandro Padovani on. He's stuck in traffic in San Francisco.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I don't know where Rob Pincus is. He was supposed to be here, and apparently he got waylaid doing something. So don't worry. It seems to be the thing going on tonight. We have here in Oregon, I was telling the viewers a little earlier that we have lightning storms coming through this evening, which we don't get in Oregon really very often. And if we happen, like if the screen suddenly goes blank, it's because we got hit by lightning. So just don't be surprised if that happens. and knowing the way the night's going, that's exactly what's going to happen.
That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. So anyway, well, glad you could make it. The reason I wanted to have you on tonight is because you've got some courses on the training tour this year, and this is not the first year you've done the training tour. How is it?
No, this is maybe the second, third year, I think. That we've been on the training tour with PDN.
Yeah, cool. Well, we're happy to have you, because as I've been telling people, the medical response is such an important part of not just self-defense, but also defense of others. And trauma happens all the time from all kinds of different causes. And I'm glad you're out there teaching this stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, it's I was having a pretty heavy conversation with some friends throughout this week. It's been a little hectic here in Dallas Fort Worth, let alone Texas, the past couple of days. But about why, what it is that trying to explain to them what I do and the need for that. And actually got in a big discussion with a friend of mine, John Daub, down there at KR Training out of Bastrop, Texas, and it was really interesting. He said, Caleb, because we're both very passionate about it, and he teaches defensive firearms training and stuff, and so he said, Caleb, don't get upset, because the reason people don't want to take your class, or it's nothing personal, or my classes or anybody else, it's because it's not relevant until it is relevant.
Right.
And that's been kind of my, the thing I've been focused on all week is, how do I make it relevant? And there's just sometimes I can't, but no, I enjoy what I do. Hopefully it makes a difference in some folks' lives, and it's a skill set kind of like yourself that I hope they never have to use.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they are going to use it in their lifetime.
Yeah. In fact, I've heard from, I don't know how many people that have told me that, gosh, I've used my trauma kit several times, but I've never had to use my gun. And I hear that constantly from people.
Yeah. I was just speaking with Karl Rand, and he was telling me, and I was trying to tell him, like, I got to get you on film saying this quote, but Karl's taken basically everybody. I can literally say, Karl, I'll go out on a limb and say Karl's taken everybody's class in the past 20 or 30 years. He's very much a student. He still takes people's courses, whether it's firearms or he's out there with Craig taking some of the combative classes. He's taken not just the gun classes, but I guess the aftermath type courses, and stuff. And over the past 20 or 30 years, he's trained under a lot of people. And he said, I've got thousands of hours of training, but with all those years and all those training and how to protect myself, I've definitely used the skills I've learned in a Lone Star Medic class far much more than I have any of my defensive shooting classes. Now, truth be told, some of the classes have kept them out of trouble. Okay. But yeah, I mean, you look at CDC stats. We talked about that last time we were here. Heart attacks, #1 killer in America.
Yeah. And, I
can't use a 9mm for that.
Yeah. And, that's something that I worry about. And, I'm watching my diet and trying to lose weight to prevent that from happening as well. And I think sometimes we sort of lose track of exactly what's dangerous for us. And I want you to notice, I mean, I am hydrating myself here. Okay. Just so you know. So in fact, before we get started, one thing about that, one of the taglines that you're known for is drink water, right? Mm-hmm. Tell us why.
There's two questions I usually get asked the most. After, the first initial question is people ask, Kayla, what should I be carrying? What kind of equipment should I carry for whatever I'm doing? The second thing is, after they get to kind of hanging out through class, a student or a friend or someone, they say, hey, with a medic of almost 20 years, what's some of the, grossest things you've ever seen? And they don't mean that to stir the pot or create some kind of, in a negative way. They're just curious, violence is, is entertaining to some people, and they want to know what's the grossest thing you've ever seen. I said, really, I've not been there and done that. I've literally poured bodies into a body bag, poured them. And that's the term that the medical examiner told us to do with them. So what do you want to do with this body? Just pour them in the bag. I've seen, men, women, children completely mangled. But the hardest thing to watch and the most grotesque thing I've ever seen as a medic is watching someone die because they are dehydrated or they're a heat stroke casualty. And there is no quick cure for that. It's a slow death. And there's nothing we can do for that out in the field. In fact, even if you were in a hospital and you came down with heat stroke and you got to the hospital within 2 or 3 minutes of you passing out, it doesn't matter. The only way we can cure that is with time. Time and a little bit of hydration and IV therapy. But even IVs, I can put 2 or 3 IVs in your body and have you sipping water, and I can't cool your core temperature quick enough and create that enough. And it can all be prevented, though, just by drinking water.
Wow. I honestly had no idea. I honestly had no idea.
The most common injury I've seen in 20 years has been dehydration. And it creates and compounds so many other things. And as a medic, whether it's in the military, I was like, wow, okay, I'm starting with a dehydrated patient, and they've already lost a lot of blood. So what's going right for me so far? That's two big heavy hitters for one patient right there. So and it can be saved. People, I've lost soldiers because they didn't drink water, and it's like, wow, well, we could drink water and solve that problem. That's why it's kind of a joke, ongoing joke for several years, but there is a bit of passion and a reasoning behind that. For me personally.
That's, I've been wanting to ask you that question for so long, since the first time we met. And, I honestly did not know the reason behind it, and I had no idea. So, excuse me, I'm going to have some water here.
Now that I scared the heck out of everybody.
So, sometimes that's what it takes.
A glass of water.
So, I wanted to get you on tonight to talk about, get to this to the screen here so I can see this. About a month from now, on the 3rd and 4th of June, actually, you're going to be in Bastrop. Is that how it's pronounced, Bastrop?
It depends. If you're from Bastrop, Texas, it's pronounced some other weird way, but we just refer to it as Bastrop.
Okay, so that's in Texas, and
right outside Austin. So
what part of Texas?
Right outside of Austin, just to the east of Austin.
Okay, so you're going to be there teaching medicine X EDC. And the reason that I wanted to have people on the show tonight to talk about the classes they teach is because I got an email from a fellow who said, I appreciate you telling us about the upcoming classes, but it would be nice to find out what they're really about. And I thought, well, let's have the people to teach it come on and tell us what it's about. So I have no idea what Medicine X EDC is about. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what that class entails?
It's a 2-day class, and the idea is to say, okay, we're going to teach people how to identify and treat immediate life-threatening injuries related to violent attacks. Okay, so whether we're talking about gunshot wounds, stab wounds, elbows, fists, teeth, that type of thing, with the violent attacks. But from the Medicine X class, the cool thing about that is, there's 2 different classes, Medicine X and Medicine X EDC for everyday carry. The regular Medicine X class is where we utilize live fire scenarios. So think of I don't want to say to give everybody an idea for that's listening to the show. Think of it like a 3-gun stage or a IPSC IDPA stage, where you've got to, either run side to left or right or up and down range. And we will take a mannequin and place it down range or somewhere on the range, and you basically have to fight your way to that. And whatever that scenario may be, hey, you've got down the hallway, or hey, in the parking lot or whatever. So you're getting to utilize those shooting, the shooting discipline of yours and your pistol manipulations and stuff. Now Medicine X is just with the carbine and pistol, so you can utilize both. And then the one here coming up here in June is actually just from a concealed carry point of view. So your pistol has to be concealed. You can't show up with a plate carrier and your hat on backwards with a pair of your Oakleys. It's literally like, I want students to show up in like your jeans and a t-shirt, what you normally carry, what you normally wear, and we're going to run you through scenarios. And not only are we going to expect you to perform from concealment, but I'm also going to teach you how you can carry the medical equipment from a concealed carry point of view as well, from an everyday carry point of view. So it's it's not going to be, hey, we're having a bad day in Baghdad. It's, hey, we're in the middle of the restaurant with our family. Or the scenarios will be, hey, we're in the back of our shopping center and it's getting robbed or something, or to that extent. And the cool thing about working with having KR Training host it, Karl's done a lot of homework on how do I want to word it? He's done a lot of homework on scenarios that civilians have found themselves in needing to use their defensive firearm. And so we'll put people in those type of scenarios to see what they do. And it's a way of stress testing their communication skills, their shooting skills. their thought processing skills, let alone we wrap it all around their medical skills that they're learning this weekend. I don't know if that helps explain it. I mean, that was a bit much, but
No, that's perfect. Actually, it does a good idea, or excuse me, a good job of communicating exactly what that's about. So the idea is to put those skills into sort of a relevant context, give people a chance to practice realistically, and I think um, the great part of that is forcing people to work from the medical gear that they're carrying every day, however they carry it. That really doesn't happen in a lot of trauma response training, does it?
not necessarily. Yeah, it's kind of a. I'm not going to say I'm the only kid on the block doing it this way, but you know, the live firing scenarios, they actually, you know, I think they add a little bit more of a stressor to the students. I mean, they're not timed. We don't use shot timers or anything on it. It's completely. They may take 2 minutes for them to solve the problem, or 20 or 30 minutes. That's completely up to them. We're there for 16 plus hours. We've got time allotted for it. You know, it's a 2-day class. So an interesting concept too is to when we start putting people on day 2, they start working with other people in the class, whether they showed up with a buddy or not, or a family member, or they're getting put in a scenario where they get a total stranger. And now think about it like this: there's 2 CHL or 2 concealed license holders that can work together maybe. So what are the pros and cons of that, and how do we solve those type of deals? But they work in as a team, so a 2-person team, you know, running that scenario.
Okay, cool. Um, do and I'm trying to figure out a good way to word this question. Um, uh, how many people come to that class and don't really have yet a good idea how they're going to carry this on an everyday carry basis? In other words, is this a class just for the guy and gal that's already got this dialed in, that they already know how they're going to carry it and they carry it all the time anyway?
Are you referring to the firearm or to the medical gear?
To the medical gear.
The medical gear, some do. I'm starting to see more and more, whether it's LSM alumni that come to class, that are coming back to more classes, that are carrying gear, but they're just not, you know, it's, hey, they've got it's kind of like if we were to equate it to, hey, they're carrying a gun in a holster. It just ain't the right kind of holster. So we'll kind of tweak it, you know, like, hey, they are carrying a pistol. We got to give them credit there. Hey, they've got a holster, but let's get them a better belt, maybe, you know, some fine tuning there. But a lot of them, they're not carrying. Some do show up. I'd say the past year, I've seen more people show up to class with medical equipment. When I say, hey, first to class, who here's got medical gear on them? And about 3 or 4 hands will go up in a room of maybe 12 to 15 people. And 3 or 4 hands will go up, but they'll all say, oh, it's in the vehicle. Or it's in my range bag outside by the range instead of in Karl's classroom. You know, and I'm like, okay, well, what if you get injured here, that's almost 150, 170 yards away. Can you can you stop from bleeding that long to get to it?
Right.
You know?
Okay. So the question that I had, one of the questions I had planned to ask you is, and this is sort of into the mind of the instructor, which was sort of part of this episode tonight. Why did you come up with this specific class? Was there any one particular thing that motivated you to do it? And how did you get the idea for the class and put it together?
Oh man, that's a very loaded answer. I can honestly say I have to give credit where it's due. I had taken probably a handful. I wouldn't say a lot. We're talking, you know, 3, maybe 4 defensive pistol classes by the time I started Lone Star Medics, and 3 or 4 at most. And I'd been to like places like Tactical Conference and taken a few little hip pocket trainings at different conferences and whatnot and expos. But so I thought, I looked at it from that. I thought, okay, well, they're always talking about how to, you know, stress test some of this stuff. And a friend of our, Paul Gomez, when he started talking to me about this and I started doing this, he said, well, okay, and some of the courses that he was teaching, and he was saying, we really have to, you know, I want students to get that level of stress inoculation, so that way they can see what happens to their body, what happens to their equipment, the method of carrying and all that, how their holsters, all their setup, their spare mags, where they store that. It can either go well or it can all go to hell in a handbasket. But you have to reach that level of stress. So I thought, okay, well, let's add some stressors. I can't yell at people. That's not going to do it. I'll lose my voice. I still have to teach for another day or two. So I thought, well, one thing to always get everybody see being a quasi part-time RSO at a local 3-gun match, I thought every time somebody stands up to the match ready to shoot, once they load and make ready, they're nervous. Cool. Okay, well then I'll just make everybody shoot some live, run a 3-gun stage, fight their way to the mannequin, and that'll add a stressor. But it really did, by taking some other people's seeing, hey, okay, I can stand here on 2 legs and on square range, and my marksman's pretty good. You know, I can hold my own. But then we had to start adding timers to it or stress to it, and all my stuff started going out the window. I said, well, okay, well, that's what I have to base my instructor mindset on. So we'll add some of that stuff too. And it kind of goes hand in hand. Well, I'm carrying a gun because the cops can't be there all the time. I need to carry medical gear because the ambulance can't be there all the time.
Okay.
So it kind of evolved from several people.
Cool. Now you were mentioning people dealing with the gear that they carry. And I wrote down, so I actually typed something about that while you were saying that. And the question that kind of came to my mind is, what kind of, aside from not having it on their person or not with them all the time, aside from that, what mistakes do you or issues do you typically see with the way that people are carrying their medical gear? I mean, you're pressure testing this now. You're probably seeing some failures. What are the kinds of failures you see?
As far as the medical gear, it's again, a kind of a loaded question there. I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet, hit the bullet points here. But I would say, one, there's a reason when we teach simple, I mean, just even the basics of, hey, how do you prepare your tourniquet for whatever carry method, if you're carrying an ankle rig or a pocket carry or, you know, whatever method, you know, inside a sports coat, you know, pocket or whatever, how we prepare that tourniquet. You know, and, you know, students, and I've got colleagues and mentors of mine that don't teach necessarily how to prepare a tourniquet and really stress that. I'm like, guys, it's kind of like loading your defensive firearm. There's a right and a wrong way to do it, and it doesn't do any good if it's not loaded and ready to go. The less you have to fidget with it as you deploy your firearm, the better off you're going to be. Tourniquet is the same way. So can you access your tourniquet one-handed, either hand, with somewhat of ease and still manipulate it and get it out and present it within the parameters for defensive purposes, or for purposes of, if we're talking about the tourniquet, then for being able to self-apply it or put it on someone else, maybe even one-handed. So preparing their tourniquets, I'd say, would be the first thing I see. People don't take the time to prepare their tourniquets. Second is I'm not going to say it's the biggest problem that I see or hit, but it's a kind of just an interesting observation, is how quickly people run out of medical gear. And it's like, I'm carrying one tourniquet, maybe some hemostatic agent, you know, like a quick clot combat gauze, and that's it. Okay. If I, you know, get stabbed in the lung, well, none of those are really going to help me. Or two, if I'm injured, and so is if I'm injured in my leg or something, I get stabbed in the leg or the stomach, you know, okay, I've used up that hemostatic agent. But students are really surprised how quickly they're using up their resources. So when we say you're carrying your medical everyday carry gear, a lot of folks think that's it. Well, no, that's the equivalent of me giving you a 2-shot revolver or a 2-shot pistol, and that's what you got to live the gunfight through. So whether your other family members are carrying medical equipment as well, that adds more, gives you more quote unquote ammo for saving lives, you know, in the medical aspect.
You know, I had never, I mean, I thought about the amount of gear that I carry in terms of the number of people that I might need to treat, right?
Sure.
It might be, 3 or 4 people, whatever it is. And, and we're not even talking in terms of we're not talking even in terms of mass casualty attack, I'm thinking just in terms of like auto accidents and things.
You're going to dinner with your spouse, just 2 people. Yeah. Man, that's, both of you get injured. That's a lot. You're overwhelmed. You've already depleted. You will deplete, knock on wood, you can deplete all your medical resources, your everyday carry medical gear very rapidly, including your vehicle level kit.
Wow. Maybe I think, I'm sitting here actually typing as you're saying this, and I think it's maybe time I sort of revisit that, because I've been lax. I would be one of those guys in the class that would run out of gear very quickly. So the question sort of comes up. What do you personally carry in terms of your EDC, in terms of the amount of equipment, and how do you carry it? And I'm talking about your personal EDC, not the work related or the professionally related stuff.
Sure. Not as a medic on a SWAT team or something, or hey, I'm on a family vacation. It goes back to my military background of, hey, mission dictates gear. Okay, so what am I going to be doing? I'm driving around in the city of Dallas with the wife. We're going to go to dinner. Okay, great. So I'm within the city. So I've got available resources like hospitals and ambulance and fire departments. And within 20 minutes along in, they're going to get to me. Okay, cool. So I don't have to carry, my 80-pound rucksack with my 80-pound aid bag there. But for me, every day for jeans and a t-shirt, typically it's at minimum a soft T wide tourniquet and a package of quick clot combat gauze as my hemostatic agent of choice. And then probably a Russell chest seal or the Beacon chest seal. They both have one-way valves on them. So as far as chest seals, there's some that are occlusive and non-occlusive. So one with or without the chest seal or with a valve. If you're going to carry one, then carry one with the valve. But and that's just for, for on my person. Just for me. And the wife, she carries, she's got actually with her handbag, and I've learned it's not called a purse. It's kind of like vase versus vase. Depends how much you spin on it. So her handbag, it's not a purse, it's a handbag. It's almost kind of like she carries a little bit extra stuff in there, but not a lot, just because she does have a bag. But even at her desk, I mean, she's got in different tiers, and I always tell people, hey, look at it tiers, what you got on yourself, a vehicle kit, the kit at home, the family prep stuff for, hey, that type of deal. But on my person, it's a tourniquet, hemostatic agent, and a chest seal at a minimum. And I'm really trying to tell folks, hey, tourniquets are great. Folks are getting on the bandwagon about carrying tourniquets. But tourniquets only can be used on arms and legs. And if you've taken any Force Unforced class, you learn real quick, well, I've got a lot more to my body part. I've got a lot of other body parts than just that. So hemostatic agents, folks need to start looking at those really serious too, as far as their everyday carry as well.
So PDN contributor Julie Leffler, when you mentioned the person handbag thing, she sent me a text message. And I'm going to read this. And she says, would you recommend putting an ankle rig around the interior of a purse for women who may not be able to carry on the ankle? Now, that's an interesting question. I hadn't considered that.
You can. One thing that my wife and I were looking at is just an old belly band that I had stashed away somewhere, and I looked at it, and it didn't really fit because of the pockets. Instead of carrying, and she has to dress very conservatively for work, so her walking around in her business suits or her dresses, she can't have an ankle rig on for anything. That would stand out there at the office. But a simple belly band. But instead of carrying your firearm or your spare mag or flashlight in there, she will actually carry a chest seal, hemostatic agent, and a tourniquet. seems to be a good option. But inside what Julie's talking about, taking it and put it inside the handbag, I don't think it's a problem if your handbag will support that. And I mean that several different ways as supporting it, so it doesn't fall, so stuff doesn't, your car keys or whatever else women are putting in their handbag, it doesn't get in the way of having to get to it. And I always tell people, hey, kind of think of your medical equipment kind of like your defensive firearm. With that mindset, can I access it without digging through a bunch of stuff? Or if it's on or off body carry, okay, the rules still kind of apply with medical gear as they do kind of with firearms, I think. My humble opinion.
So you had mentioned that's interesting. Thanks for answering that, and I'm sure Julie appreciates that as well. I got to stop looking at my text messages during the show.
Well, it's Julie though. It's Julie.
It's Julie though.
Tell it to her,
Yeah, so it's okay. If she's a PDN contributor, sure, we'll do that. So the question then, and this comes up on another text message I got. I don't know if like Julie and Josh are colluding or something tonight. I don't know what's going on here, but PDN contributor Josh Gideon asked, we had talked about, putting gear in a car, car kits, that kind of thing. How much more gear should be staged in a car? What would you say, again, not on a professional basis, but for the average person, how much extra gear goes in the car?
Making sure everybody's paying attention here. All of it.
So what you're saying is get out the credit card and
no, honestly, look at it, per person. If you were to look at it and say, okay, for one, I always tell people, hey, I always packed my aid bag or, a vehicle kit in numbers of in twos. So 2 tourniquets, 2 pressure dressings, and even numbers. The reason for that is, Bill, I've got 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 eyes, 2 lungs, 2 big toes, 2 ears. So that for me, it's just my OCD there. But I would say definitely at least, in a vehicle bag, because you're not having to carry that. So that could be any type of container or bag. You do kind of have to think about, hey, I've got to worry about someone popping a window while it's locked up if it's not stashed under a car seat or in a, some type of vehicle safe or something. But if someone pops a car seat just to take that bag, they think it's a purse or who knows what, you keep your, laptop in it or something. But I have had students that have, had first aid kits stolen out of their vehicle, and they get to their vehicle, the window's smashed, and then their car's raided, and all the medical equipment is all, tore up all over the place there in front. So they've literally opened it up and went, what is this? And dropped it. And that's the reason they lost their window and their stereo. But, c'est la vie. I would say to answer the question, I would say definitely, couple of tourniquets, some more hemostatic agent, pressure dressings. You start looking at stuff like the Elias modular bandage. That pressure bandage, that's almost like 5 or 6 bandages in one. You can really get a lot of use out of one of those 6-inch wide bandages. They're pretty cool. So you can get a long way with just one, let alone 4 of them.
Cool.
But just kind of whatever you're comfortable with carrying. I mean, you can carry 100 pounds of stuff if you really want everything in the kitchen sink, but is it really needed? If I'm in my car, I will say this, in a vehicle, think of it too. Am I staying in town in the big city, or am I going to go out to the country farm, or do I live up in the hills where it's an hour and a half to get to the grocery store? Well, then, okay, I probably need to pack a little bit more stuff. You're probably driving a 4-wheel drive vehicle anyways. So things like that, where not just your available resources in your vehicle, but available resources and medical equipment that from the search and rescue team or the ambulance or EMS that's responding, or the police department, the sheriff's office, if they respond with first aid kit, they're gearing, some of the law enforcement's carrying more and more medical gear as well. So just think of it a tiered event.
Okay.
Kind of a thing.
Cool. Josh, I hope that that was sufficient for you. All of it, Josh. All of it. All right. Caleb, thanks for coming on tonight. I do appreciate it. And I hope people sign up for your class the 3rd and 4th, I think it is, of June in Texas near Austin. I hope people take advantage of that because this is really incredibly important stuff. Tell people how they can get in touch with you.
LoneStarMedics.com, and LONE for Lone Star, like Lone Star State, not LOAN. But LoneStarMedics.com. Reach us on Facebook. We just started Instagram as well last year. So hit us up on social media as well.
Okay, cool. Well, great. Thanks again for coming on, and I hope you get a full class there in Texas. And I will continue to drink water. Okay.
Thanks, amigo.
All right. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. All right. So Caleb Causey, Lone Star Medics. Again, be sure to sign up for his class, the Medicine X EDC class there. And be sure and sign up for that because that is going to be a superb class. You'll learn all that stuff that he talked about. And I'd love to go. In fact, if I had the time, I'd fly to Texas and take that myself because that's going to be a great class. So terrific. And again, thanks for Julie and Josh, Julie Leffler and Joshua Gideon, both PDN contributors here, who and we'll be having them on here in a show, in a future show, because they've got some new stuff going on as well. So very cool. Anyway, so that's the training tour update for this week, and I hope you'll be with us for our next show. The next show happens in 2 weeks, which is, excuse me, I have to do some addition here, some mathematics. May 18th. Of course, we'll be back here 6 p.m. Pacific and 9 p.m. Eastern. And be sure and join us then. Of course, be sure and check out all of the great classes that are on the PDN Training Tour, because we're kind of getting started here this year. There's still a lot of classes coming up. I've told you some of them, and you'll find a bunch of others as well. So be sure and check those out. Just go to the Personal Defense Network webpage, click on training, and you can get the dates and everything there. So be sure and check that out. Also, don't forget to send me your emails to grant@grantcunningham.com. Thank you, Google, for sending us back to 1995. But I do enjoy getting those emails. And again, the topic of the show tonight was suggested by a viewer who wanted to know more about the classes that were on the training tour. So there you go, Alan. I hope that was informative for you. Don't forget about the premium membership. That's what I'm trying to say here. Personal Defense Network. You can get premium membership your first year for $10. Such a deal. It is a phenomenal discount from the normal $39.95, and you can get that by simply putting this. Make sure you can see it here. This code Grant10, GRANT, the number 1, the number 0, all one word, in the discount box when you sign up for premium membership here at Personal Defense Network. And don't forget, of course, the Personal Defense Network weekly newsletter, which is completely free, gives you all kinds of great information, keeps you up to track on what's going on here at Personal Defense Network. Sign up. There's a link here on the show page, but there are links all over the Personal Defense Network website. You can't miss them. So sign up for that. And I guess that'll about do it for this week. And remember, our next show 2 weeks from tonight, same time, same place. And my thanks to my guest, Caleb Causey, and we will see you next time. Stay safe. Oh, and remember, of course, drink water. Good night, everybody.